All right, we're going to go to the audience. Do we have any questions for the panelists? Oh, we have.
What's next in a year is continuing in this role and being able to make a difference in the city and helping us to think through the challenges that we're facing and building solutions so that we could get across those. My wildest dream has always been that one day I'm going to leave all of this behind and I'm going to be a traveling filmmaker. I'm going to go around the world and meet with women that have gone through conflicts, that are going through life, and tell their stories. And that's because I've had many stories told about my life, but it's always been from the perspective of the person telling it. And there are pieces where I'm like, that's not what I want you to say, and they will still say it. So I want to be that filter for these women and to actually tell their stories raw. So when I was young, when I was in college, I used to see myself in a refugee camp surrounded by women and just telling stories with them. So if you don't see me in New York, go find me around the world in a refugee camp. That's where I'll be.
But for me, I do see myself somewhat, I would say, transitioning. I work full time in the funeral home, and I work for the school, but I find my passion is really gearing towards mentorship. I love mentoring. And I find such joy in doing that. So I see myself transitioning into that area. And I also find myself having a passion with helping managers, basically in leadership, how to treat your staff, because I believe your staff is your greatest asset. And if you treat them well, they will help you out a lot. And I find that's something that's really lacking also in funeral service is proper leadership and how to not move from being just a micromanager, but really inspiring your staff and trusting your staff. So I kind of like see myself transitioning in those areas.
One of the things that I'd like to do is to create what I have needed, because I believe those who are in helping professions will likely have the same need. So that's a piece of it. But I also have multiple books building up inside of me. It's been an amazing journey. I've seen a lot, experienced a lot, have a lot to share, but also I think at the root of it is a message of hope and love that needs to be shared. So.
Well, I will say for me, I'm actually writing. So mine on my laptop is my fourth book, technically. I keep calling it my third, but anyway, it's a long story. But yeah, my first one, it's not easy. Yeah, you definitely just have to. For me, I respond really well to deadlines. So 10 years ago, well, it was 11 years ago when I started. I wasn't living in the States. I was back home in Ireland, but I was flying to the States in 2 months. And so I decided, right, I'm going to write this book. I had it in my brain. And so to kind of just preface that, I started what I'm doing today with Muldowney Memorials. I started in Ireland 15 years ago, and it was called Farewell Funeral Planners. And I had this grand idea to be like a wedding planner, but for funerals. And I launched this business, and I was immediately picked up by the two big funeral homes in Dublin. And I sat around a round table with all these white men who grilled me for my ideas and then basically sent me on my merry way. Yeah, I was naive and but I still believed in what I was doing. And so a couple of months into it, I realized, look, I don't have the funds to educate the public about what this is without the support of these funeral homeowners. And so I was like, but I really want to get this information out into the public domain. So I met with a publisher mentor and I told him everything, and he basically said he wanted to publish the book. So I had to write the book then. So it's about getting out there, networking, like things like this, getting out there, networking, meeting people who are publishers who will potentially give you the opportunity to do it, or because that was how my journey was. And or just write it, just literally sit down, write it, give yourself a deadline. That works really well for me. It doesn't work for everybody. If you've said the three things, so one of them was to have a kid, so you're going to have to work around family time. So maybe my schedule will work for you, which was 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Just saying. But find time, find quiet time. Like for me now, for this book, I'm finding it really difficult because I'm so distracted. My boundaries are a bit all over the place. When a funeral comes in, I have to jump. So for me, it's going away for overnight. Like at the start of this year, I went to Niagara Falls for 2 nights, just me, just by myself, with my laptop, to write, to be creative. I find that works for me. So getting it out there, getting it written. There's a book in everybody, let's be honest. And podcasts are a great way to tell your story. If written word is difficult for you, you can find ghostwriters as well. If you're not finding that you can get the words on paper, I personally am good at that. But it doesn't flow for everybody. So I would say just start writing.
I've helped people write books, right? And I've done chapters in books, and those were easy because they're about content. They're about things that I know it's international affairs. The book that I've been trying to write since I was in college, because everyone tells me write it, is the story of my life. And I find that that is very difficult because it's a form of therapy. I have to go back and relive what happened and try to share it while thinking about, oh, this person is going to read it and here's what they're going to think. But a year or so ago, someone actually gave me great advice. And she basically said, don't think that you're writing a book. Think that you're writing about moments. So think about a moment and write that moment out. And so each chapter is a moment. And if I w- when I started doing that, it actually became easier because when you're writing again about life, I become the biggest procrastinator, and deadlines wouldn't work for me. I mean, I've had people say, "We will publish your book. We know it's going to be a great seller," and I just shut down because I can't get over the emotions to be able to do it. But the moment that I started thinking, okay, why don't you tell the story about you and your dad and your mom dancing in a room? That I could do. I could write that story out. And then later, that's why we pay other people to be able to put it all together. So, write moments and then have those that are better skilled do the rest for you.
And literally every single one of us on this planet is different. We're all completely unique. So you have to find what works for you, whether it's self-care, writing a book. Like, as I said, deadlines work really well for me. They don't for Asada. But somebody did say to me one time, which I thought was really, really good, solid advice and has helped me write mine, is don't write for people. Write as if you were the one reading the book. Write for yourself. And they even say when you're starting a business, like, who's your target audience, and have a specific, name them and have, their everything about them on a page. But like when you're writing a book, you're the audience, you're the person who's reading it. Because the thing is, whatever you're wanting to write about, there's somebody else out there who wants to read it. And you have to just find your tribe and focus on yourself. And I will say, she'll be delighted, mini plug, a friend of mine who's an incredible author and has many, many books, and actually wrote about America's first female journalist, incredible, Elsie. Yeah, it's a whole story. Alison Gilbert is her name, and she's actually doing a workshop tomorrow evening. And I think it's being streamed. It's only $25 to go, but I can send you the link for that. She'd be delighted I got that plug in for her. But she's written many books about grief, and she just did a bestseller on this first female journalist. Really interesting book. So.
The fruits of my labor. For instance, I had a person come up to me and say, I don't know if you remember me. We met in 2013 and I was in the hospital and I needed a coat. and it was Friday night, and I came and I prayed with him and I offered this coat, and he's gone on to do, not that this one act made the difference, right? I'm not suggesting that, but to know that that wasn't, that I was present in that moment of need is a wonderful feeling to be used in a respectful and honorable way. So that's what keeps me going. Just knowing that someone receives care, comfort, and support in a challenging time, and I can kind of be that vehicle for which they feel that comfort. That keeps me going.
Believe it or not, even though this is my passion, every day I quit. But but what keeps me going are my families coming back to me and thanking me for making this difficult process easier for them. That does it for me. And seeing them outside in the street on a cruise, and they run to me and hug me, thanking me again for making their loved one's celebration of life special. That keeps me going every single day. And with my students, with them contacting me, asking me questions, um, thanking me for helping them and get through the process, and now becoming funeral directors. And they ask me, oh, can you mentor me? Can you guide me? Can you help me do this? Can you help me do that? Can you teach more classes? We don't want to give you up. That makes me feel special. And I'm like, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I get up every morning to do all of this. It's just, sometimes you just want to feel appreciated. And they do that. So that inspired me every single day and keeps me pushing to be the best that I could be, so then I could give back to them.
I think in addition to that, and I've realized this maybe a few months back, because when you're in the role that we are in and you're a leader, you understand that you're a leader, but then you're surrounded by leaders. So it's really easy to forget the role that you play because you're in the day to day. But I receive LinkedIn messages from younger students because I'm only 35. So just a little bit younger than me, and they will send me messages saying that they watch my career and they see the work that I'm doing globally, and they see me with heads of state, they see me with the mayor, they see me with others, and that is inspiring them to go into our field. And that it's helping them to feel like they also belong. And I think that piece really just gets me because, again, all day long, if you're with me, you will see that I'm on my phone. I'm talking to a million people, and just knowing that people are out there watching, that really keeps me going. It makes me want to do more and to do better for them, and to create a space that they will walk into as a workplace that will be safe, that will not be toxic, that will be welcoming of them. And then the second thing that keeps me going is the 8.5 million New Yorkers and the ones that never know and will probably never know about our office, but that we are keeping safe, that we are helping. And for that, I will forever be grateful. This is the best job I've ever had in my life. I don't think anything will ever match this opportunity to be your voices on the global stage. It's incredible. So that's what keeps me going.
Actually, I saw a quote, I think it was today, which I thought, well, just so resonated with me, is if you're tired, rest, don't quit. So Sabrina, if you're tired, rest, don't quit. But it's so true because it can be, it can be exhausting. So it's, sometimes you'll wake up and it's no, your body and your brain just say, no, maybe not today or whatever. We just need to rest.
I tell people this, especially the younger folks that come to me for mentorship. And I tell them, when you're getting a mentor, don't just get a mentor that looks like you. So a fun fact that is that most of my mentors are white and male. And these are people that I did not intentionally try to be mentored by, but something happened and we got connected. And it's been really incredible because when I am afraid, when I don't have that courage, I don't know what happens to them. Like they don't have fear or something like that, but they just are able to go for it. And they have this thing that I don't know what it is, but they are able to tell me to also go for what I want, right? And something that as women we often deal with is that we want to make sure that we hit the mark on everything when we're applying for a job. Or if we're in a job and we make a mistake, we take that and we allow it to define us. And I found with my mentors that they really move beyond that and they've been able to teach me that. So from when I was in college to now, I've had mentors of all types of people. And currently, in my office, my commissioner is a white man, and I am an African woman, and we are the best of friends, right? We've been able to connect because we see each other as human beings. We realize that we have commonalities. I am an African, he is a Ukrainian. We both came here. He came as a refugee, I came as an asylee. And we've just been able to connect in that way. And I wish more people will actually do that because when we see each other as human, I think that's when the world is going to get better. So thank you for that question.
Absolutely, yes. I currently serve, I don't know if you were in the room at the time, Corey, at the Riverside Church, which prides itself on being international, interdenominational, interracial. And so we're very intentional about diversity and making certain that we understand that there's really, there's not to be a color or a culture, um, cultural difference so much as being created by one creator, and honoring and valuing each person as such. So I've had teachers, instructors, ministers, colleagues of all different sorts of backgrounds who have played a critical role in my career and in my life personally. I was fortunate enough. It's so funny because we talk about, you know, folks being privileged. Well, I was in the garage one day at work and the president of a school stopped and said, I think you want to be in this doctoral program. It's X, Y, and Z. And I said, okay, well, it's starting in 2 weeks. And he said, yeah. Call the director, get your application in. Some time passed, a week passed, and I finally get around to calling the director. And I said, can you explain to me a little more about this cohort? Like, what is this? He just mentioned Powell. And I'm like, what is, oh, we're looking at the life, the ministry, the politics of Adam Clayton Powell. And I said, oh, wow, amazing. Okay, great. So it sounds like it's kind of late in the process. Is there going to be another cohort? And he said, no, the president said to save a seat for you. And so we saved a seat for you. Just get your application in. But anyway, I say that to say this is a white Presbyterian um, male minister who thought enough of me and believed in me and thought I should be a part of this and created an opportunity for me to go on and pursue my studies. And so when you ask that question, absolutely. So everything that is other is not bad. I'm not ever going to suggest that. But yes, I've had many people that help to shape my life and my career, and they all look different.
It is what it is in funeral service, but I'm around a lot of, I'm around everybody, honestly, and people have imparted in me. People have mentored me. Some of my good friends, I don't, honestly, for me, I don't see color. That's why I'm like, okay, I'm applying for this program, but there's nobody that look like us. I don't care. That always been me. I will be a part of anything. I don't care. Even with a lot of the committees that I'm on, it's only me. I don't care, because guess what? We are here we here for a purpose. We are here to work to perfect funeral service, to make funeral service better, to make funeral service attractive to all people. So we're going to work together. So for me, I'm like, okay, I don't see any of that. Yes, it is segregated, but it's okay. If you don't want to be a part of it, that's on you. But I will definitely be there, and we will work together as a team for funeral service and for um, making changes in all areas, in school, everything. It's not an issue for me. But a lot of my mentors have been Caucasian. I had people write recommendations for me, train me, show me, introduce me to so many different people. I just don't see that. That's why I'm always attending convention, and I'm the only one, but that's okay.
Because I find that even within the Black race, right, we also have our own diversity. And, I'm African, some people are African Americans, Jamaicans, all of that. And also finding that diversity within our communities has also been really empowering. When I was on the continent, when I was in Guinea, I never had to describe who I am racially. And then I came to the US and I had to say, okay, I am a Black woman. But then when I was at Rockefeller, I found these amazing Caribbean women who took me under their wing. And I was African, but they just felt this real connection to me, and they helped raise me as a professional woman. They taught me what I should do in the workplace. They protected me and they nurtured me. So I think even within our own communities as well, there's a lot of diversity, there's a lot of connectivity that we could create amongst ourselves as well.
Question. And I think at the end of the day, it's all about seeing the human in a person, and that's it. If we just would start seeing the human beings inside and less of the other BS, then we'd all be better for it and working in unity.
So I think, like anything else, I don't know how you made your decisions in terms of schools or work. Um, what is it that resonates with your spirit? Um, for me, finding this, going from a small Presbyterian church where I grew up and knew nothing else, to a large multicultural church. For me, hearing preaching that I had never heard before, and the music that was so familiar, that resonated so deeply with my spirit, made clear for me, I want to visit again. And then the following week, I wanted to visit again. And I went from saying that I was going to visit multiple churches before making a decision to this was it. I think having that sense and then meeting people who just were so warm and inviting and caring and supportive, just kind of sealed the deal for me in that process. And I think just being prayerful, but whatever it is that speaks to your spirit. So for many, and I think maybe your generation, many are looking for ways in which to not just show up and sit in a pew and listen to a sermon, but how do you actualize your faith? How is this faith community demonstrating what they say they believe? So for many, they want the hands-on work. They want social justice, and they want to pray with their feet by marching. And so they want a congregation or a church that reflects that. I think whatever it is that resonates with you, just start shopping around. It may help to read about the leader and make certain that the words that they're preaching are aligned with the actions. I just saw a James Baldwin quote. I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. If that's important to you, then make certain that those folks are held accountable, leaders. Yeah.